Viens, divi. Nav nozīmes meklēt. Var redzēt mani? Var sākt? Hello, everyone. First meetup of this year, meetup 116? 16, yeah. Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. So, let's look at the agenda. If Siemens can touch a button. Excellent. So, arriving, getting drinks. I hope you are doing that or have done that already. Next up, what we're having now. It's a quick intro and schedule overview. And after that, we are going to have a guest from Riga. CEO of Cold Wild Games, Vladimir Slav. He will answer your burning and maybe not so burning questions about what it is like to run a game development business. And after that, we're having voting for the next meetup speaker. And we're having future events overview. So the year has started with some really nice options for both events and also financial support for your game development. After that, we're having show and tell. And regarding last time's show and tell, this time, what we're gonna have is every speaker gets only 5 minutes to talk, and I'm gonna show you paper. And if you're gonna go over the time, I will kick you off the stage. Yes. Very nice. So after that, Elvis is still here, and he is completely ready to lead the game. And then you're doing networking, which is get drinks and talk to people. Excellent. So, Vladimir, could you kindly?
Hi. Aren't we like still a bit off the schedule? No, like I'm getting the vibes, you know. Okay, who here studied in Latvian school? Like, I mean, in Latvia? Cool. Do you had like a research thing needed, like in grade 11 or something? Yes. Right. Yeah, so you write this research paper, right? So at one point, I was writing my research paper, and I was super anxious about it. And then, you know, I'm like telling my teacher, hey, can we do like a preparation and showcasing of the research paper one day earlier? Because I was super anxious. And she's like, yeah, sure, Vladimir. And then everyone hated me. So I'm getting the same vibes because we had like a presentation scheduled for 7:15, right? And now it's 7:05. What am I talking about? Whatever. Can I get a chair? I'm not sure. No, I want you here. Like, you're my... I will be here. Okay, thank you. You're my safety... I wanted to say safety animal, but like, what the hell is going on? Okay. Is this my chair? Yes, oh, then I will need to... But how will I be switching the presentation? Oh, then you take the chair. No. Sorry, no, you take the chair. Viss. Simonis paņem krēslu. Es paņemu somu, atdevu to Ivaram. Yeah, it's a bit chaotic. Whew. And I will take my coat off, but I will leave my hat. No, it's fine. Thank you. Right. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, cool stuff. What? Okay, come on. Like it's 7 o'clock, Wednesday. Right, are we ready, Simonis? Like, just get me a go. I think microphone is like super loud from what I see in the OBS. No, it's fine? Right, okay. Okay, cool. So, hi, I'm Vladimir. I run like the indie development company called Cold Wild Games. I think it was for 7 years, but can we switch to the next one, please? Okay, this slide is left intentionally blank. And I guess the backstory is Laura asked me to tell you who I am. So let's start with this one. Next slide. Right, so hi, my name's Vladimir. I am mostly, I started out as a software engineer, and Afterwards, I think I worked for for a corporate development for 5 years maybe. Then I got bored of it, and life lost its meaning. So in the end, I just decided and quit and started making games. First, it was mostly me doing stuff and contracting people. In the end, it was me and Helen, and then it was the designer. And then the studio kind of grew naturally after the release of Merchant of Disguise in 2019. I think it's enough about me. Next, please. Right, at one point, and if you actually want like to take a look into business inside, I suppose the more useful part would be to look at my presentation called Aesthetic Driven Design, which I should have spoken at GDC 2020, but you know what happened in 2020, so we don't know about it, but it's on YouTube on the GDC channel. Wow, my highlight, my 5 minutes of fame. Do you think like how, thank you. Can I just, what if I press the wrong button? Man, I'm terrible at tech. I tried pressing the arrows. Sorry, I'm a bit of a boomer. Which arrow do you point? Okay, those two? Do you just point them, do you point them at computer?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Maybe just wait a minute.
Okay, it worked.
Okay, sorry, please continue.
Yes, Simonis, you're still on board. Like, the automation will not take our jobs away. Please set the next slide. Right, okay, so yeah, it was my talk. I guess now I feel a bit like a football player who left the field, but I'm still here. So let's get going. Simonis, thank you very much. So what is Coldwell Games? The company itself started as a 2-person team. Then there are 8 people. We mostly make indie games. Our biggest games are Merchant of Disguise and Luna's Fishing Garden. I will tell a bit about them later. I suppose this is an indie game company, if you can name it this way. We basically just post games on Steam and on consoles, I suppose, if this is the case. Am I using, I suppose, twice? Simonis, can you open the next slide, please? Right, so Coldwell Games, the principles behind the company this is how it runs pretty much now. We like to experiment with the game genres. We try to add something to the mix, even it's about small details, and the games are really about experiencing things and just feeling stuff, and just trying to pass this feeling towards others and to connect with the world through them. I suppose this deserves extra mention, but we really didn't want to have any loot box or casino mechanics like the paid ones, which we mask as games, so this is a no for us. We don't toy with blockchain. I guess the overall vision is to try to make a world a better place, even though it's useless, I guess. Yeah. Even Hayao Miyazaki says it. I kind of seen it from him, I suppose, and it impressed me when I was a kid. Like, when you create something, think of how it impacts the world or anything. Right. We kind of treat the games aesthetically, and we try to make them pleasing and good looking, because this is often the key to catch the attention, but I don't think I'm comfortable publishing the game without good gameplay. Right, can we pass to the next slide, please? Okay, so I guess the biggest game so far has been Merchant of Disguise, which has been released in 2019. This is a simple trading simulator, and you fly the ship around, sell items, gather resources, and build your own trade company. This is literally what the slide says. It was peaceful, it was wholesome. I think it touched the niche that other players wanted, but were not getting, and it kind of worked, and it brought towards the studio expansion. So, but are we actually a one-hit wonder? Next slide, please. Right, so at one point, yeah, the next one was Luna's Fishing Garden. I think it followed the same principle. It was peaceful, it was wholesome. It was built like a fairy tale, designed to capture attention. We kind of we managed to get a really talented crew on board from different countries, and by the work of talent, it worked out. I no longer feel like a one-hit wonder. Thank you. for the affirmation, Luna's Fishing Garden. Carry on, please. Right, so I suppose afterwards it was a bit of an existential question, because do I want to make wholesome games all my life? I think even though both of them sold more than 30,000 copies, I still want to have sort of the experiments and to see how we can use the combat or violence as a storytelling tool, but not gratuitously, I suppose. So Stories of the Outbreak is the game about zombie apocalypse, and Riga is the one that we are developing right now. Yep. Next, please. Right, so about the platforms, I think one of the core things that we have focused on early on, even before Merchant of the Skies, is trying to diversify and publish stuff on multiple platforms, which we will touch a bit later. Next, please. Right, so the big bamboozle. I suppose this is where it takes a bit of a turn. At one point, Laura has asked me if I would be willing to share how to start a company. I suppose it's a bit different from how to run a company and how to run a business. So this is where this part starts. I don't know, it caused me so much anxiety. I'm super anxious right now. So to put the stress right away, right a bit, we will move to the next slide. And actually, like, these are the successful companies in Latvia. Like, if you want like a good business advice, how to run a business, like, ask those guys. And if I forgot anyone, like, no, yeah. So this is what, like, go on, like, next question. Right, Simonis, please. Okay, so this is not a financial advice, really, like, no idea what I'm doing. There's no business education. I cannot help you, like, when it comes to money. Like, go take a micro loan or something. That would be like a more. I just have fun, okay? Carry on. Right, so what is Caldwell Games? If it's not run as a business, I guess I like money, but I don't optimize for money. Like, the current runway is 6 months, but this is if we start getting like zero amount of money. Like, how is it possible? Never mind. Okay, so I guess for me, Cold Wild Games is about the vision of the better world and to see how far we can go with it. And I suppose one thing that I encourage is work-life balance. I kind of don't get the small companies that like earn millions and then their colleagues don't earn like a fraction of that. I suppose I'm not a fan of trickle-down economy, but so I guess if the project succeeds for me, I just want everyone who worked on the project to reap the benefits of it. All of the employees get the percentage of the game from the profits. And I suppose this is my own vision of home in a general way, how I work or where I live. And I assume if I put on the effort on making the environment around me better, rather than building fences, I suppose something becomes home, and this is how you get the feeling of being home. And it is about values overall. So what are the actual values? Come on. Okay, Simon, just carry on. I'm fine. Right, so in theory, I just think that games should be an experience to everyone. I mentioned this. The developers are co-owners of the games they make. I am super pro-inclusive in stuff, and there's no judgment. At least I tried not to do it. I mean, theoretically, we're all judgmental, but I guess it's about your intellectual checks and balances, and I try to pursue it. I try to be empathetic about the people who work with us, and I try to have a dialogue within the company. If that comes, sorry? Are you messing with me? Okay, thank you. Right, so I guess since 2022, like, it's pretty obvious that Ukraine should win this, and it cannot be a stalemate because it's an existential fear, I suppose. So yes, we've donated stuff, and in general, within the studio, I think it's about the things that brings us together rather than divide us. And I don't know if we have like a super arguments and stuff, but there is a radical honesty. If someone doesn't like something, we say it, or at least I try to maintain it, or maybe I'm the asshole, just bashes everything. So yeah, profit shares goes to employees. We try to give the local game developers and artists. the opportunity to work with it. We've donated to relief organizations, and I've worked with 9 different citizens from different countries: Latvia, New Zealand, Belarus, Germany, United States, Estonia, Russia, Indonesia, Spain. This is until now. So, yep. In the end, I just want the Call Out games to be an umbrella of talent, and this is how it's built. If someone is talented, they get a chance to participate in the studio if we have the resources to do so. And yeah, ideally it's a work on a common project, but I really want to see people who I work with grow as people, as artists, as developers. Right, and the actual principles that are already implemented, like 30 to 60 profits of one game, profits, not income, goes towards developers who worked on it. And I do not claim any rights on the work that people do outside of work. And if someone actually wants to use their art after work, then we can run it through and we can discuss it. Right, so the part where we're actually here. So you make an indie games. This is a shitty advice. Don't do it if you just want to make it. I guess make it, but don't make it as a business. Right, so number one thing, realize the cost of opportunity. Let's look at the 7 years. I have a portfolio of games that I'm really proud of. I have a freedom to work and do what I want, and you probably will have to if you do it, and you're probably going to have a lot of fun. But if I would not be making games, I would have, like, moderately speaking, maybe €250,000 more right now. I would spend more time with parents and friends. I would definitely have less anxiety. If I wasn't here, I wouldn't have an anxiety right now, come to think of it. But yeah, in the end, ask yourself if you would be doing something better than like doing what you are doing now. If you have anything better to do now, like go somewhere else. Not, I mean, I'm gonna be hurt, but I'm not gonna be offended. Basically, if I go to the meetup, I think, is there anything else that I can do which is going to be more fun than a meetup? And then apply this principle to making games or to living your life. This is how it works. So it's not about the profits, it's about like minimizing pain from missing out. Wow. That's pretty depressing. Right, but if you actually make stuff, you should maximize your chances by investing in good art. I cannot believe, no, I'm not gonna say the cliche, but basically if you have any amount of resources and you want to make games and you have a friend who is an artist and you can pay him, then pay for the art. Because even our most, I think, Lazy Galaxy Rebel Story was, I think, our most unsuccessful game, in a way, after we started doing this seriously and not as a part-time thing. But it still covered its expenses because it was pretty cheaply made in terms of resources spent. And after 3 or 4 years, it broke even, and you actually get the money back. So if you can invest into making the game, you're in this for the long term, for the long time, and just buy some cool art, make some good, simple game, and just wait it out a bit if you... I guess that's my experience with all of the stuff. Your mileage may vary. Not a financial advice, but honestly, I haven't seen any decently, like, simple, cheap games made with decent art fail. Right, and if you actually want to do this, I suggest trying to publish on multiple platforms, which bring us to the next point. You establish a workflow, and at first it just takes a lot of time, but then if you prepare it, you make that next step games, a next game just a step towards the next one. So if you make it like as a streamlined process, and you want to do this in the long term, I would say this is the first time. Make a library of your assets that you can reuse. Make sure you know your platforms. Right, should you actually be doing it in the company? I think if you want to experiment and do more artsy stuff, then you should probably do it alone and just subcontract it. If you want to make bigger projects, like implement the bigger worlds, then you should go for the company thing, but know that you're going to be pretty limited. In the end, you will also spend less time making games and more time managing. Right. Actually, I wish we had the culture, capital phones, whatever. They had it, right, for some games, but I wish like that in time the artsy games become more available. This is some sketches from the game we've submitted to European Union, and it failed. I'm not salty about it, but I think, wouldn't it be cool to have like an existential point-and-click game where you just go through those depressing post-Soviet era hoods and just see some monsters, but not like in a God of War style, but just like some sort of loneliness or angst or an existential doubt, etc., etc., and then you just live through this. Wow. If I had money, I would make this. Anyway, what is it about? I think for me, it's about like having fun and making games and just, yeah. That was a brief intro. It's like not a brief intro. We'll have some time. But yeah, basically, if you need my help, then we as a company occasionally provide contracting services, like to get started. If you want to get started in the game development, we occasionally provide contracting services to third parties, such as development or just art. And if you're interested to contract on our behalf, you can contact me. If you're a self-starting team of students or solo developers who want to publish their own self-funded project, I can help you out a bit. And I can also consult like bigger companies on how to publish games. Again, I just see it as a way to build a game development community here. All right, thank you. Did I run through it? Ivers, what is the time? Wow, this was blazingly fast. Blazingly fast. All right, but this was about Q&A, right? So if anyone has a questions, ask me anything.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So probably everybody has this question, but at the beginning, how did it start? Like, was it you and somebody else like coming together like in a garage? We decided just to make games now, and yeah, I don't know, working like a full-time job and then on the evenings programming something, putting something together like a long time, or did you have like free money that you can invest it? And just how did you take off the company?
Right, great question, thank you. Although if it was a bad question, I wouldn't say it. Like, but it is a great question. Like, thank you very much. Right, what I wanted. At first, I used to be a software engineer. I kind of didn't like my job that well. I started making games at the evenings. They were terrible. Like but I got super tired of my job. I got a possible contracting gig that I could take, like Upwork style thing. And I had the backup of this. I had around 7,000 or 8,000 euros on my account. I left my job, and for the year, I just tried to do whatever I wanted. Then the money ran out, and I got super anxious. Then I started taking the contract gig, but at the meantime, the contract was more interesting, and I was developing the game part-time. Whenever I could afford it, I would step back into the games. It took me around 2 years to just kind of get started. I think 2019 was the year when I could focus on making the games entirely, and this is when Merchant of the Skies actually came to life. So I suppose if you want to do it smoothly, have some savings, have a plan to do when your savings fail or when you fail, have a strong support circle of your friends who you can talk to, and possibly have an investor. Like, it's also a pretty cool idea. You don't have to do it alone. I guess that's the point. Know that you can ask for help, and people here are actually super helpful. I'm not saying someone will invest money, but you can try. Yeah, guys, basically ask for help and have it planned out. That's why I think just do it is a bad advice, because, I mean, Kanye would tell you just make songs and be racist, but like if he does it, it works for him. But if you do it, like, you end up somewhere probably else. Yeah. Anyone else? Did I answer the question? Okay.
Any more? Yes.
Yo, hi. How do you manage anxiety?
All right. So I have, yes, drugs. ADHD. I have ADHD diagnosed, so I take like at one point the panic attack started. This is when I started to like look into it more seriously. And then I went to neurologist, and they said, dude, you have ADHD, like take some meds. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna take the meds. Like, I'm not a junkie or something. But yeah. Yes, now I do take the medication occasionally. It helps me with emotional regulation, dealing with stress, being here, like, and being pretty chill right now. Did I overshare stuff? Like, but yes, like, if you're actually feeling constant anxiety and like feel like you need to do all the stuff all the time and it's never enough, then there's a good chance you might actually have ADHD. And like, it's super treatable. Like, it's not treatable, you can manage it, but yeah. Yes. Like, to be honest, when I made Merchant of the Skies, like I wasn't like diagnosed at that point, and I think, yeah, this is like when it got like super worst, because when I got the game published and it became successful, I had a constant pressure that I need to update it and that I need to do my best all the time. And at one point while I was nearing release, yeah, I had like a super weird panic attacks. Like you would just start crying randomly. And at one point afterwards, I still like thought I can live it through. Merchant of the Sky ended, then Luna's Fishing Garden started. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fine. Merchant of the Sky was not the first game. It was our fourth or fifth game, but this was the most successful game. It actually got public attention, and it started. Yeah, I suppose I burned out, but then but then I was like, I'm fine. Like we published it. I started working on the next game. Yeah, then it was like some weird stuff. Like I had to call an ambulance once because I thought I'm gonna die or something. But then they're like, dude, you're having a panic attack. And I'm like, okay, I should maybe manage it. So yeah, take your mental health seriously, guys. Like, that's the point. Yeah. And go easy.
Thanks for the presentation. I have a lot of questions to you, but I wanted to read. We have some questions online from the stream. So there's one question from Andre Ward. If I have an idea, what's the best way to develop it in Riga?
Sorry, if I have an idea, what's the best way
to develop in Riga?
Right. I guess it really depends on your skill set. First of all, I don't think you need to be a software engineer anymore if you want to make games. There are a lot of visual tooling. And I guess it's just a broad question, and I just start losing my mind a bit over this. So, yeah, go to Global Game Jam, like meet the people. I'm not going to be at the Global Game Jam, but like someone I know is going to be there, like an artist of sorts. And yeah, I think the first point is to get introduced to the community and start asking the questions to real people who like make games. I cannot, like if you specify it, I can actually maybe answer more later on, but for now, I would say Global Game Jam and then go to the community and talk to people.
Any more questions?
I would ask, yeah. Question as like a more, as I would now call traditionally indie developer. How do you look at the milestones? Like, how do you basically how do you release? Like, do you have a design document and you just follow it and now you release, or do you have like, oh, I feel like it's done, and because games are never done. Like you can always work on them.
Right. So first thing I want to say that I'm not doing it alone. I have like a support room, for example, Alex, who does the issue planning and stuff. Overall, I would say I have the budget for the games. I have the timeline, what I want to do. We usually try to work according to that timeline. Usually it never ends on time, but I will always stretch it by 50% or so. And if I see that we cannot make it, we just cut the features out of it. So it's better to make a smaller but well-polished game than to overextend. I guess I just take pride in the work and I just want to publish quality stuff. Yes, it's going to backfire at one point, don't get me wrong. Because, for example, Luna's Fishing Garden, the second game, it went over budget by 50%. And because, you know, you invest into it and then you think, okay, I'm getting this cool game, but for example, the writing is not there yet. And you kind of think, okay, maybe I can get the writer from United States. And then actually this is what happened. I run 50 auditions and then... Yes, I think for me, and that's why I'm not a businessman. For me, it's the quality of the game is more important than the budget. And I think I'm just lucky for now. That's the perception. But I can still offer some questions and advice.
Before that, isn't it a bit too loud here? You're fine. What about those in the first two rows? Can you hear when Vladimir? Then it's just me, my problems. Yeah. Any more questions?
Just a question. How long does it usually take to develop like a size of indie games you are making, and what's the budget usually around to make it?
Right, as one of the developers in the company says, there are no small games, and normally, Luna's Fishing Garden, for example, took 9 months to complete, and it's really a 2-hour game where you mostly fetch stuff, and it's an incremental. But if you keep on doing and doing, I think if you want to run this as a business, and if you are serious about it, then make sure you publish at least one indie game a year. That's a good milestone. Like, take some features that you want to have, cut them down by half, and then expect this to work. But yes, overall, from my talks also with other indie developers from the industry, if you want to make this a consistent business and do not rely on hits or just one-hit wonders, or then one game a year is pretty much a standard that people who survive those years, this is how they do it. What, sorry? I suppose so, yes. Yes, it makes sense. Yeah. Unless you're subset games, how long is it? Faster Than Light took 5 years, I think. But yes, if you can afford it and you can polish the diamond from the rough, do it. But otherwise, it's a risk, and if you actually run it as a business part, then I would say one game a year. What's the budget, if you don't mind? That was the question. Sure, I don't mind. I'm just thinking, like, it's very different from game to game. I think for Merchant of the Skies, it was around, I'm afraid to lie to you, but maybe it was around 50 to 60,000 euros. But you have to realize, like, most of this money, okay, not most of this, maybe 70% of that sum came after the game was released. So for Merchant of the Skies, it was publish the game fast, like get the first copy of the game working, what people liked, and then publish it. We knew that the game is getting some attention because of the wish list. We could see it and analyze it. This is how I estimate the success of the games, like upcoming success of the games. Yes, it's kind of an early. It was an early access game, and this is how it worked for us. Yes.
Any more questions?
So we're making one game a year, and now we're going to the release. How many wish lists should we aim for?
I mean, you're pulling my leg a bit, but okay, not answering like to you specifically this, but I suppose if you want to be in the popular upcoming, then you need around 20,000 wish lists. Like this is what you're like aiming for. There is sometimes an exclusion to this because if Valve sees that in 3 days or 5 days, if I understand it, my observations, not an NDA stuff. If from my observations, if Valve sees that there are no games that have, I don't know, 20,000 wish lists, they will actually push the games with top wish lists for those next 3 days. So your game needs to be either better than this, but if you want to be consistently in popular upcoming, I think it's around 20 to 30,000 wish lists. But it's, yeah. You don't need to 30,000, like if you're developing alone, you don't need 30,000 wish lists to publish a game. Like, take it easy. Roughly, how big percent goes from the sales to the wish list? The question was. It really depends of the game. I think the golden standard is around 15% of the wish lists going on launch. I can share the wishlist data for Merchant of the Skies, actually. When we published it in early access, it had 5,000 wishlists. And it still worked out really well. So it's also about the quality of the game. But it was a different time then, because Valve now doesn't feature early access games in popular, like in new and trending. So it's harder to get there if you're an early. But when you publish the game, finally, you get the same benefit. So Merchant of the Skies have 5,000 wishlists. Right now it has... On full release, it had 50,000 wishlists, and when it launched, I think up to now it's sold around 70,000 copies across all platforms. So, yes. Again, wishlist is a good boosted start, but there were games that had 300,000 wishlists, and Valve was like, "We gotta feature this game," like, and it was on the front page, and it had way less reviews, for example, than Merchant of the Skies. So you still need to make a good game. 99% of it is still a good game. Okay, maybe 90% of it. You cannot, like, okay, I guess. But it's very easy to market a good game, I suppose. That's what I'm trying to say. Like.
Any more?
How do you test the idea? How do you test the idea of the game?
How do you test the idea of the game? Right, so we actually, for our peaceful games, we would just make Twitter images and see how people react to the wholesome stuff. Now, it's a risky way, and I don't think for now we just do playtests. Now I thought, why not make something that we actually super want to make, and then we do the playtest and see if people are having fun or not. And then if people are having fun, not having fun, I get super worried about it, and I'm like, I gotta push everyone and just, yeah. And then usually it turns out okay because it gets a bit more fun. And again, I wouldn't be able to do it without my team. So, yeah. I suppose I should clarify because we kind of say good game, 99% marketing. I guess if you want to have a game that sells around 1,000 copies over time, it's not going to be super difficult. You really just need to invest in art, some amount of money. I would say with a budget of 5,000 and it's like a top number. I think it can be done with less. And if you just put in your work by yourself as a developer, it's going to work out. But if you can do everything, it's also going to work out. In a way, but just don't expect 10,000 of copies sold unless you have a game with spiders with light swords, I suppose. But no, keep it real. Look at the data. The basic entry, if you don't plan to be a millionaire, it's very simple. You don't need to make a very hard game, very super complex game. And don't confuse complexity with depth, please. Like the Nolan did in Tenet. Sorry if anyone likes Tenet. Basically, make something simple, make something good. Just work on some cool idea that you enjoy making. Don't stretch it over 5 years. Scale it down, and this is how I would say you would maximize your chances, and appreciate what you're doing. Consider again, opportunity costs. If my game sells 0 copies, what am I getting? If Stories from the Outbreak is getting 0 copies, I'm getting an amazing game in my portfolio that I'm super proud of. And that's how I perceive it. Yeah, but it's again about your values and stuff. If you want to maximize money, then you need to act differently. Sorry. Not sorry. Why am I apologizing about this? Carry on. Simonis, did you have a question? I will pass it to Simonis. But then, do we have time? What time is it?
So we have a couple more questions from the chat of the stream. I will read them all out, and you can just answer which one you want to answer. So there is one question which is there a demand for people who write story scripts, for example, people with good imagination but not interested specifically in programming? Another question is, do you only make indie games, and have you thought about making different genre games?
Okay, I will answer the ones that I still remember, and then I will ask about the second one. Okay, I might remember the both ones. The first one was about the writing. So the writing thing, I really think that you need experience. When I was picking a writer, I would essentially looking at experience first and foremost. And if you actually want to get this, to become a game development writer, I would say you need to have a good examples. Not exactly, maybe not commercial games, but if you have a visual novel or something made in the engine without the programming, it would already put you above people who are just good at writing. So You don't need to be a programmer. Look at the visual scripting. There are actually engines for the visual novels. Laura, how are you making your game? So game creator plus visuals, like visual scripting. You can actually do it. You don't need to be a cool programmer. Like, sorry, I don't mean that you're a bad programmer. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had one game with made like just I don't know. I guess the entry is easier. That's what I want to say. Yeah, like blueprints. Yeah. I'd say if you want to concentrate on writing, just make a visual novel thing in the engines that are already provided. There are engines for text games. I would say this is a start, and then you look Twine, for example, and it actually puts you again above the people who never made anything, have it published. And the second one, the genre of indie games. I suppose I don't perceive the indie as genre, more like a style of living, although what does an indie mean? No, like by Jean-Paul Sartre. No, indie means that you do whatever you want in a way that you are not afraid of your creative vision, that you don't want to say, like that you want to convey a message and then you are not afraid to say it, or just like, yeah, you take experiments. You know how the popular movies look at the indie movies and take like the cool stuff from them? Essentially, indie is what does. I'm not saying I'm the one who does it, but good indie games that actually provide some cool new mechanics that AAA games are not always are confident in making. So it's like a trailblazing stuff, and maybe something just works out. This is how I perceive it. So indie is just doing what you want to do. Technically, yes. Yeah. That was like, we had so many discussions, so what can be counted as indie or not. Yeah, to me, it's just making games and having fun, I suppose. If I make an indie strategy game, it's still a strategy game, but it's not a genre, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose so. Right. Right. Anyone else has a questions? Right. I will give it to Simonis and then to you.
My question was, how do you market your games and how do you advertise them?
Right. So this is the tougher questions. As usually, that's why I say 99% of games is like the 99% of the game marketing is like having a good game. I think it worked. The marketing worked because the wholesome games just need to have a good picture, first and foremost. When Helen or the artist or Antoinette, the artist from New Zealand, were drawing things for Merchant of the Skies or Luna's Fishing Garden, we would put it on Twitter. We would see that it gets a lot of likes, and then it confirmed this idea would work, and we would proceed to make them. And essentially, when we make the next peaceful game, this is going to be the same way. We put the art through Screenshot Saturday hashtag on Twitter, if it's still alive, or Mastodon or something, and then we see how people react. And if people react, then we make this type of game. But this applies to wholesome games. For RPG games, I suppose some people find the subreddits, the niche subreddits that look like their game. I've seen twin stick shooters do this. They post the information about the game in, how was it called? The game by Vladimir, the first one, the twin stick shooter. Nuclear Throne. There was the very popular twin stick shooter game, and then people who make the clones of that game, they would go to Nuclear Throne subreddit and say, hey guys, I'm making this kind of game. So the marketing process is creative by itself, I suppose, but you don't have much, not you specifically. For example, I don't have enough energy when I do this, so make something that is like visually appealing at the most. That's my suggestion. Do you spend money on it? I had some Reddit ads when I was launching the Lazy Galaxy, but I had a very specific niche audience, and it actually, I think it had 1 cent per click, which actually I think it was a very decent and like conversion ratio. I couldn't measure it, but I think for $100 spend, I've earned around $500 at that time, and I think it went really well. But like the audience was very niche, and you couldn't really scale it. So for niche games, it might be easier, but you need to know like really where to market it. You had one more question?
Okay, two things. One's like more a comment or just how to say thing that I noticed like recently in the gaming world. You mentioned that like to market a game you need like a good game. I would argue about this because like we have really two good examples, Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky, two games that the marketing team was just going full cylinders, had like a marketing, I don't know, probably a couple millions, probably blow most of their budget to the marketing, and we know how those games turned out, right? The thing is that like, maybe this is more like in the AAA industry going on or with the bigger companies, that like not necessarily you need like a really good game to sell it, you just need like to really market it in a really good way just to show people what they want to see, like fulfill their like deepest fantasies, dreams, like, and not necessarily deliver on it, because there's still those games sold. I know Cyberpunk sold like 15 million copies just a couple days, week maximum, and yeah, they get sued, but they paid the settlement 2 million, but they went out like with $1 billion profit, like not profit but income from the game. So that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to ask is that I saw you are publishing mostly on all platforms, but not PlayStation. What's the story behind that? And one thing I heard that Sony has like a really bad relationship with the indie games and studios, like in the past. I know that they are like making up for it in the last maybe half year, but still the situation is not like really great, what I heard at least.
What I hear at least, and not from my experience, and basically from the stuff that I read in indie game journals, and not from anything that I have encountered in my life. The dev kits might be a bit pricier, and some developers, for example, that say that they get stuff for free, but some other journals publish the news that some developers do not get this stuff and they have to pay in thousands to get the dev kits. Assume I've read something like this, and it never happened to me. That's why I never published on Sony PlayStation. Yes. Sorry? Yes. Yes, I know. Right. All right. Yes, like I had like the old experience, and I cannot like convey anything about it. It's only what I've read in the journals. And also because I have an NDA like signed, but yes, like from the public information that you can find online, this is, I'm citing it, not saying my experience. Thank you. Okay, and yes, I cannot comment on AAA gaming, but for example, if Sony PlayStation features No Man's Sky, people will get interested. And let's be honest, No Man's Sky was looking like $1,000, like $1 million. No Man's Sky was looking really good. Cyberpunk was looking really good. It's the same for marketing Coldwell Games in this regard. Graphics sells games, good reviews keep them afloat and allow you to sell copies. Unless you're like super AAA FIFA stuff or Cyberpunk stuff, if you manage to get featured by a platform, then your initial boost of sale is going to be very notable. This is correct. But if you are not able to maintain the review amount, then your sales will drop. If you get mixed rating on Steam, like yellow rating on Steam, forget about having more sales. Like this is where significant drop of sales starts. So make pretty games to attract attention, make good gameplay to actually get reviews and keep the tail going. That's what I would say. Also, if you actually want to maximize your chances, like try to make games that generate stories of sorts. I'm not saying stories from the Outbreak, like, but RimWorld. You can watch his presentation online, and this is essentially the consensus. Like the content, like because of the game situations, the content creates itself. Dwarven Fortress, it's the same one. It's the long story. People keep playing it. It increases exposure, and I think for the indies, it's also a very viable way, which I haven't touched yet. But anyone else had a question? Maybe. Do you want the microphone or the
Yeah, I maybe missed a couple of questions, but my question was about the most not exciting thing about the marketing and which channels do you like embrace the most? Like, which do you think are the best for the not the numbers maybe, but for the following for the community?
Is anyone using Twitter here? Right. Have anyone got like lots of suggestions in the last days about weird posts? Wow, our Twitter account like had purple stars like from Latvian influencers, like one girl who was on Tinder, one girl who was like complaining about some stuff, just weird stuff. But Twitter is our main channel. And Discord is to communicate with the audience. I know some people get anxious about maintaining 1 million channels, like right from the start. Just pick something that you use and you know how to reach the people. Honestly, having one channel is enough, especially if you do it solo. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Related question. Actually, yeah, you mentioned Twitter, and do you do dev blogs? And do you see like any sort of how to say it, like the positive influence on your games, like from the reception of your like basically, if, how to say it, like hard to formulate the question, but yeah, do you see any value in the reception from the dev blogs and?
Right, thank you. Has anyone here had a diary when they were a kid, or like an adult? I have a diary. I like write stuff there occasionally. Anyway, yes. Cool, thank you. At least someone. Yes, like diaries are cool. Anyway, I guess I treat the devlogs mostly as a diary of sorts. I write something down, it helps me clear my mind, but it does help with the audience that already exists. But people who don't know about your game or don't know about your company, I don't think they will care unless you make really good devlogs like Satisfactory did. They invested into this, but they had a very cool like AAA level game. So do the devlogs if you are interested in it and if you want to do the devlogs. That's how I would say it. It's indie way, like, right, do only the stuff that you want to do. Publish the game, that's pretty much everything else. Anything else is like... Just a second, I caught on the mind loop. Should you do devlogs or not? Yep, do it only if you want. Like this the dancing song. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they are no friends of mine. Anyway, yes.
Early reception for your idea, like basically you're putting together some, I don't know, some visuals or something, and people say like, oh dude, that sucks, like come on, like you can do better.
Most people don't care about the bad ideas, like unless they're your followers. You make a bad post online, you're not going to get angry comments. When we post the art for the games before we actually start developing, that we do. Anything else, we don't do devlogs until there is significantly something that we want to show. I do monthly devlogs with company reports when I actually tell how things are going within the company. And this is pretty much that. I've seen some devlogs blow up, but they were about... There was a GameDev post on Reddit one time ago about the guy who said he was trying TikTok to market games, and he was getting like 500 views for his pixelated or voxel game, and then he make a fake thing like, I'm making a cool MMO about Star Wars universe, like, and he posted cool concept art from Star Wars, and he got like 10 million views and lots of likes on this. Again, like, if your game looks cool, then I suppose it would work if you do it honestly, but have a pretty game. That's what I want to say if you actually want to have a success. Anyone else has a question? Laura, I feel so bad about you having to stand up. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, because we're actually starting to run out of time. So last question from me. Let's imagine a person who has a normal, stable job, and he maybe in his free time or maybe commercially has done 1-2 games, and now he wants to quit his job and do games full time, make his own company. Name first 3 things he should do or think about.
Right. So the first one, have a backup plan, like what you do if things fails. This is the first thing you actually have to do. The second one, I suppose. Wow, I'm not gonna like have a responsibility course. If you have a family and kids, like, don't do it. I guess do it if you have an external funding. Honestly, like if you can sustain yourself and if you have people depend on you, like, and you know that they will be okay, then do it. Like, think about it. If you take the responsibility about something, stick to it. And third one, I guess, just keep making progress and make the actual game. Like, even if you cannot. The first part should be about making the games. Like, you cannot post on Twitter, fine, don't post on Twitter. Just make the damn game. Because there are examples of people, you're not gonna be an example, like statistically speaking, but there are examples of people who made 1 or 2 posts on launch and their games kinda worked. Again, statistically speaking, it's probably not gonna happen to you. But if you have a choice about posting on Twitter or making, like, finishing the game, just finish the game, that I would say. Ideally do both, but yeah.
Great. So yeah, that's it. If you have any more questions, then you can catch him. Are you going to be in the meetup?
I was thinking about going dancing, but what I wanted to say, thank you for the questions, like everyone, and thank you for having me. If anyone actually has the questions, I'm probably going to be here 20 or so minutes. Yeah, I guess I want to encourage you, like, to. Wow, no smart words for me. Just live your life, make games if you want to. Take responsibility for your actions. Don't be an asshole to others, and be kind to yourself first and foremost, and just take it day by day, okay? Thank you.
Round of applause. So thank you, Vladimir. Your chair. And next up, just take it home. Next up, we have voting for the next meetup speaker. And question to you, do you need 5 minutes break, or can we vote and move on? Let's just vote. Let's just do it. Okay, so here we go. Scan this. Choose your human. Vote for your human, and let's hope we're gonna see the human here, or yeah. And maybe Siemens can also put on one side the actual voting poll. Per IP address. Really? Oh, whoops. Yeah, the Jari is from Finland, but we will get him here. And he will talk about, so he is one of the people who works in European Game Developers Federation, and he has data from all the European Union, and he's going to look at Latvia from Europe's perspective. Cerveni. So is there still anyone in the process of voting, or can we, do it, finish it? Is anyone still voting? Okay, if not, then I think we have our results, which is I will talk to Jari about coming here and talking about Latvia in the context of Europe and our game development. Great, let's move on. And now we're having, let me quickly notify people, because this time for the, okay, that's loud in the background. Anyway, this time, for the first time, we have another meetup happening in parallel in Liepāja. They're trying to build their community there, and I'm going to quickly notify them that they should connect to our stream, because we're going to talk about opportunities in game dev. So an awkward moment of me trying to call someone. Never mind. Anyway, let's move on. Hey, so as I said, we're having a meetup in parallel in Liepāja. So if any of you find yourself in Liepāja on the second Wednesday of the week of the month, then you can go there. Moving on. We're still looking for speakers for this year. If you have anything game dev related to talk about, there's a form. Please do sign up. Or if you know someone, or if you want to suggest someone who you want to hear at the meetup, please do. It's really appreciated. Now that I'm looking at you, please fill out that form about your shaders. And shaders as well. And anyone else who wants to talk. So, still want to notify you that every single month, I believe it was the end of a month, we're having Alternative Engine Jam, which is an online game jam where you use engines that are not popular. So no Unity, no Unreal Engine. So Jan Skoja, he is also the organizer, main coordinator of Global Game Jam, and he's also organizing this event. So I suggest checking it out. TryJam. TryJam is a game jam where you work only 3 hours. I have attended it. You can make a finished game in that time. So I really suggest attending it. It's online and it's run by one of our game development companies. Next, guys, there's an opportunity to go to GDC for free. Please raise your hands. How many of you know what is GDC? Really, that's it? Okay, GDC is basically the main game development business-to-business conference in the world. It's happening every year in San Francisco around, was it May? I think it was May. Some people have March. Okay, March. Some people have already been here. I have been here. There's another person sitting there. You have been there a lot of times, right? Yeah. And if you have a game, if you're developing a game, if you have, especially if you never have been there, I really suggest you filling out the form. I mean, flying to San Francisco, having to live there for free, it's like, don't miss it out. Application is till 15th of January. Not a lot of time. Moving on. So European Union has announced that game development is going to be one of the main cultural focuses for funding this year, which means that you can expect EU money for developing games. One such application is open right now for story-driven games. You can find it if you write in this code. And it's basically you write a project. Yeah, Vladimir, just make that picture. What you do is basically you write in an application. It's a pretty big paper, but if you set aside about a week, you can do it. And Europe co-finances your development. So you're gonna say certain positions that you want to have paid for, and they will co-finance a certain amount. Usually it's around 80% of your costs. They will return back once you have spent it. So please do apply. Application ends March. 1st of March is the deadline for application. Next up, Rapid Games Residency. So this is a house, pretty much like a vacation spot in Germany, in Brandenburg. And what is offered here, everyone who is right now working on your games, if the games are already in prototype stage or later, you can go to this house, work together with international game developers, work on your game. They will pay for your travel, for your food, for your accommodations for a month. So all you do is you apply. Deadline is this Friday. But the application is like a Google form. It's going to take you maximum 1 hour to do. So I would suggest going there, especially if people pay you for eating and living. Next up, Castle Game Jam. Yeah, that's something I'm organizing. We're taking an entire castle, Jaunpilns Castle, and we're pushing around 400 developers in there to make games, to attend a game jam for a week. In addition to medieval events, and we're thinking about dog petting sessions because we just need that. And we're inviting both small indie companies, students, but also have started to talk with Unreal. We have started to talk with Unity, with Ubisoft, with CD Projekt Red, and their response has been, there is interest, definitely. So I would love if you would attend. We're starting Kickstarter for tickets next month. And we're also looking for game developers who would like to be part of our Kickstarter video, which is basically we kind of showcase like, hey, I'm a Latvian game developer, this is what I do, and I would like you to come to Latvia. So we kind of invite foreigners to our country to attend this event. And last up, Global Game Jam. Madara?
Hey guys. This year, finally, after 2 years break, we have Global Game Jam. Okay. This year, after 2 year break, we have Global Game Jam on site. I fucking love that. Sorry for cursing. Raivis and I are creating this event. Thanks our sponsors by GameDev Meetup, of course, and Estoti is helping us with a little bit of money as well. And this year we're gonna have Global Game Jam in a new Ekastelp, Economic and Culture Augschool? University. Okay, but now okay. It's really close. We're gonna have 48 hours to make games, and I want everyone to join. Please bring your own cups. Let's think about the environment, because paper cups suck. And no alcohol allowed, of course, because it's a educational building. So, and if you have any questions, just write on GameDev chat or towards me. Yeah, and you have. I think for now it's gonna be like 80 more people can join. Our limit is 100 people. Have you never reached the limit? Like, should we be in a higher limit? Yeah, in 2020. Come on, Janis had to like make the cap, just because he was afraid that no people will fit in. Some people. Okay. Yeah, and I hope I will post a video of what to bring to Jam. So yeah, and what I want to say? Oh yeah, it's gonna be on the February from 3rd to 5th, and our host is gonna be Nauris. Of course, it's gonna be Nauris. He's the veteran of this event. Yeah, and you were the first host as well. But you were amazing, as far as the yeah. Yeah, everyone welcome to join. If you don't want to join but want to watch the games, come on Sunday and see the presentations. we're open. So yeah. Anything else? Yeah, have fun. Don't bring masks because COVID is not like relevant right now. But yeah, stay healthy. Give it to Laura.
I guess like if I can say like something. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Regarding the game jam, like, has anyone considered going? Like, but as a bit. I mean, if you're hesitant, you're not gonna raise your hands. Anyway, I just want to say that if you are interested in game development but don't know what you're doing and just want to see it, like, it's a very good experience to just get introduced towards the community. Like, essentially, sometimes the team would just pick you just because you exist, which is pretty cool. So it's a super friendly environment, like, and people are very open from my experience. So don't hesitate to join. I think it's a very good gateway towards the game industry, and a lot of us actually started there, if I remember correctly. So
Okay, so yeah, please do not miss out on opportunities, especially so GDC application 15th of January, video game university content 1st of March, and the trip to Germany that is till this Friday. And what are the dates for Global Game Jam? Madara, what are the dates for Global Game Jam? 3rd of February is Global Game Jam, and it's for free, right? It's for free, so please don't miss. And pizzas for free, like you don't have to pay for the pizzas, they will give you the pizzas. I hope you're motivated, so please don't miss out on opportunities. Anyway, we are moving on. Siemens, may you press a button? Excellent, good job, very good. Enough about me talking, it's time for you to do the talking. Show and tell. Don't be shy and show what you have been doing this month. Really, it's nobody. Nauri, can you show something? Nothing.
Yo. Yo, this is not done in last week, last month. Yo, 5 minutes. Hi everyone, I'm Girts from Hyper VR Games now. Yes, this is one of my projects, and this actually, I would say, this is our second game, and it went viral. We currently have, it's a VR game, so you can show the video. Yep. Yeah, it has physics. Yeah, I guess you see the gist. It's a VR game, so totally realistic. You can grow hair back. Yeah, I would need one of those sprains, I guess. I mean, yeah, and something like that. We can also color. This is a tutorial from July, like somewhere around July. So maybe I can tell a bit of backstory about this. So I am leading this company, leading the VR game dev stuff. Right? We had the first project called with what we want to GDC called Zombie Cleanup Service. And then along the way, we created a prototype, like several prototypes, and one of the prototypes showed a big promise. It was it had like it was fun. It was a fun game. So these are pretty old screenshots. We are currently working on that. So what happened is that we had replayability potential for a game. it was a smaller scope game, and we did create a early access version in 2.5 months. We were crunching, but we created the version, and we play tested the game at DevGam, and it was good. Then we said, yeah, full sales, we're going this game. And currently it has 55K purchases, 150K users, and it's huge for App Lab VR game. So yeah, that's our current game. Also, you have tattoos there, and well, it has been fun. So yeah, that's Chevin Stuffed by Hyper VR Games. That's what I have been doing for, not for a year, but since last May. Thank you.
Questions for Geerts? No questions?
Some people are really into like animals and shaving animals. Have you considered like making sheep shaving mod or mini game?
So one of the prototypes was shaving a dog. So, but this character was made in 2 weeks of intense styling, Wallace and Gromit style. So we ended up doing this. Like it was easier to create a humanoid than shaving characters. However, I cannot. Well, I can't find the words. I cannot say that this game might have animals or might not have animals in the future. I can't disclose it, technically. So I haven't said that here. Thank you.
Fine. All right. So it was 2 of you, right? Who made the game? How many people worked on it?
Not 2. So initially we were 4. I was doing the heavy lifting in the development first, but then I, as usual, burned out. That's like a thing for me, I guess. But well, it was fun to create. Like prototype initially was created with Game Creator by our artist, and after that I stepped in and redone the most essential systems so the users wouldn't feel it. But in general, we were 4, 1 artist, 3 developers, and since it's a VR game, it's heavily focused on the of the interaction of the things. So everything that you need to do needs to have some sort of reaction. So the gameplay needs to be smooth, and since it's VR, it's also need to have some sort of physics. It's heavy on physics in general. So yeah, Dankeschön.
Any more questions?
This is not a particularly serious question, but I'm just curious. You're giving players several sharp objects and the freedom of virtual reality. I'm curious what happens in the game if the player decides to commit acts of violence. How does the game react?
So if the game wouldn't be casual, and if I would be the one and I have the full capacity of going typical me route of being not so serious and serious at the same time, you should be able to see a lot of red colors there if you accidentally use Razor wrong, or maybe not accidentally. But yeah, this game doesn't have a violence for a very specific reason. We are this is a meta quest game. So, and it's good to decrease the violence a bit. And in this one, there's no violence. Well, in the first game, we had some. Well, I can tell about that maybe later on when we renew the project.
Okay. Anyway, was it worth burning out? And what would you do differently to not burn out next time when you work on the game?
So it's not this game is not so maybe I didn't burn so much in this one, but is it worth burning out? No. It's maybe it's okay to crunch for a very short amount of period of time, but if it's 6 months, a year or more, because I burned out with a project called Gorytail, and I didn't want to see any game development for quite a while. Because I had very high standards for myself, I burned out, and I knew that I can do everything, and I burned out. It's not worth it. Delegate your stuff. I mean, your mental health comes first.
I just wanted to say that I'm happy you worked it out, and I'm very happy that you made some other stuff. So good job.
Yeah, I should make Gorytail too.
Okay, thank you, Jirts. Who is next? Who would like to show something, anything game dev related? Art, games, maybe you have worked on an event? Anything? Siemens? Nothing from you. Siemens, how could you? You can't. Just.
I already. Is this working? Yeah, I already told this before, but I like made a game and I put an ad on Schlager canals. It's like there's like some old guy singing country music, and there's like a bunch of advertisements for like middle-aged men looking for women, and suddenly there's like a ad for like, hey, I made a game, please buy it, and it's in English. Nobody reads English like on Schlager canals. I also wrote a comic recently. And it's not published yet, but yeah, I did it for a like competition, and I don't know how it will do. Let me find some like images maybe. I hid the stuff. Yeah, this is the first like page, I guess. It's like about a girl that's working in a fast food chain, and there's like a guy who says that he likes to eat human flesh. Yeah, that's it. See ya. Hey. Maybe I will publish it and I will let you know on my socials. I am Siemens.
Do you have questions for Siemens? Or do you have so many questions you can't ask them? No questions? Nothing. Okay. Anyone else? Nobody. Nobody has been doing anything game dev related for an entire month. So shy. Who celebrates Christmas when you can make games? Who does that? Okay, then can you connect this thingy? Yeah. I will show what I have been doing. So, yeah, I'm also a student in game design, and we have sessions, so we're making games, a lot of games, on Christmas. So I was hoping that other people could also make games on Christmas. Okay, great. Let me. Okay, great. And no, it's gonna be good. So one of the games that I had to make, I hope the sound works, is do you know the cartoon Hedgehog in the Mist, Eziti Smigla? So I was like, what if you would, instead of looking at the cartoon, you would play through some parts of the cartoon? And so since the cartoon is made for kids, this game is also for kids. And in addition, you are learning different words in different language. So I didn't hear sound. Let me just quickly. Let's see. Maybe this. Sorry for the technical problems. Nope. There is no sound. Sorry. That happened. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's try to run it. Yeah, there's no sound. So, but I use parts of the movie, the original movie, and then you jump into the game. And you can walk around it. Very exciting. We had to do a 2D platformer. You can sprint like the way hedgehogs usually sprint, like a ninja in Naruto. And you can jump, because that's what hedgehogs do. And you can crouch. This is a... and I just broke my own game. Never mind. This is what happens when you're showing a game. Every time I tested it was like, this works. Just... That movie is creepy. Have you seen it? It's just really off. So you sometimes find these objects that have a story, and you have to write in what are they called. And yeah, that's the prototype. Hmm? Yeah. So yeah, that's the game pretty much. And that was one of the games that I had to make. The other game that I had to make in my session, or a bit before the session, is, let me find it. We had to create a board game from an existing digital game, and I was really low on time, and that's why, of course, I picked Skyrim. Because time management is not a thing I do. And I created all the assets, but also a rule book. So you're adventurers in Skyrim, and you can compete against other players, or you can work together, and you have to travel like every single location in Skyrim. So you have a map, you're moving around a map, you have location map. You place different things on the map, you have combat, you can loot stuff. You can sell things. You have to keep track of different statistics. There's different types of things you can loot. There are the location cards that you collect, all the enemies that you currently can encounter, and they have all the stats. Yeah, that's the board game. And I actually made all the assets with the idea to print them out, and then I checked the prices. How much does it cost to print them all out? And I realized it's 80 euros, and then I didn't want to print them out anymore. Yeah, that's it from me. Questions?
Not a question. Like, I can show you a game afterwards.
Ah, okay. Questions? No questions.
The question is, how can I send you a link?
Siemens.
Discord, WhatsApp, Telegram, yeah, Telegram's reader.
Okay. No. No. Not working.
Not yet?
Yes. Also, I need to like make it smaller.
No, таблетка.
To release the stage. That's it. Good. Okay. That's the rest.
You need help?
No, kind of, but not really. No. Okay. So while I've been sitting here, so I was making this game. Yeah, I start now. Yeah, so this is more like this is not really a game. This is more like a playable experience. This is not. This is meant for advertising, and so the game is something like this. You put on tires, and then the car goes away. Then okay, I forgot that I can buy this one as well. So yeah. So something like this, and then you actually get to you will be sold a real game after this like point. So yeah, this is something. What? Not really. The game will be slightly different. Like this is a remake of that game, like made by me, and one of the artists in my team. Yeah. What? Tech stack. Cocos creator. Cocos creator. Okay, that's it.
Unless you want to talk. Oh, nah. So, anyone else wants to show something? Don't be shy. We're not judgmental here until we are. No one. Okay, I think we can move on. What do we have next? Can you open the presentation? Oh. Or just enjoy this. Do we want to see your personal messages? I was thinking about the presentation, not your like stalking your personal life on stream. Now we know all your secrets. I had no idea why you are showing your personal like Discord, but I was like, maybe you want it. So can you? Because I forgot what was next. Yeah, it's a game. Is the master of the game here? No? He's gone. Someone call Elvis in, otherwise. Or do you want a break, or do you want to ask? He's here. He is here. Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. Free drink. Now we just wait for him to undress, like everyone's looking. Now we wait a little bit more to set up. So how was your Christmas? Fine. All of yours. Great. Short. What did you do? Do you celebrate or did you work? Eat. Okay. That. You what? Loud. Ah. Oh, okay. I can imagine. Yeah. Russell's. I found out that actually it's called in English Olivier. I had no idea it has a fancy name. Anyway, can we start?
So let's do the thingy. Let's play the game. So the rules are simple. I'll show you some pictures, you'll combine them and try to guess the game. The one who guesses the first gets a free beer or any other drink, but usually beer. So let's start. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, you have some time to guess. Nope. You can try to guess, but you'll probably not do it. You can still guess. Nope. Nope. So are we up? Yeah. No. What? No. 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 So it's an upcoming game as always. It's a new game, an old game, and then one from one of the previous meetups. So this is a new game, but you know the name of the franchise, so you just have to guess the franchise. No. So the name of this franchise is was made by combining these two things here. So try to take the first letters from the first one and the first letters from the second one and combine them. It's a cartoon. Yes, Digimon, exactly. Yeah, and it's an upcoming game, Digimon World. So it's digital monsters. Okay, the next one will also be a little bit hard. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. No. Yes, World of Tanks. Yeah. Nice. So it's a World Cup and a gas tank. And the last one is from one of the previous meetups. 3, 2, 1. I think it was meetup 58. Yes, Delta Force. Delta Force, exactly. So it's Delta and Force. So thanks for playing the game and see you in the next meetup.
You don't have to turn it off. Yeah, this is it. Please, Vladimir and who was else who got all the drinks, don't forget to claim your drinks. And this is it for the meetup. It's time to network and see you. Can you press the next slide? What was the date? See you on the 8th of February. Bye.